That Scott Galloway line about the unhappy generation, it's brutally accurate.
But is it really hard work doesn't build wealth, or just hard work without strategy?
He makes it sound like strategy is a cheat code and discipline is just taxes.
The core thing I liked, your 20s have advantages, time, flexibility, then you invest like an adult.
And he keeps hammering, don't be an earner, become an owner, right?
Army of capital that kills for you at night is insane, but I get the vibe.
It's funny, but the bucket of sand compounding thing is the real flex.
The idea that investing $1,000 a month early beats waiting until you're ready is so obvious.
I have 500 pounds, I'll wait for $1 million is the most human sentence ever.
People don't understand compounding because it feels like nothing is happening, until suddenly everything is.
He also says 98% of people spend everything they get. Do you think that's actually true?
98% sounds like he made it up in a rage, but I've lived it enough to believe it's close.
The spending discipline part is the only boring advice I've ever found that works.
But I'm stuck on the wealth equals relevance and love claim. Sounds too neat.
Yeah, capitalism is not a vibe-based game. Money buys options, but it doesn't guarantee love.
True, but economic security does reduce stress, and stress ruins everything.
He even ties anxiety to kids in low-income homes like physiology-level stuff.
That's the real argument. Wealth isn't the end. It's the means to stop panicking all the time.
Means money is a means. I'm stealing that line from my notes.
Okay, but the episode's bigger theme to me is uncomfortable risk. He treats rejection like training.
Dude basically said, if you ask and get denied, you win because you didn't die.
I loved his atheism angle too. Finite life, so public shame loses its power.
I get it, but I worry. Does that make people reckless? Rejection therapy can become ego fuel.
He actually countered that with ring fencing, especially when kids show up.
Yeah, don't go all in on anything in your 30s and 40s was the mature upgrade.
I want to unpack that slow failure is the worst failure claim.
Because if you fail fast, you reset. If you fail slowly, you burn years of optionality.
That's like starting a business and collecting just enough green lights to stay delusional.
Red envelope vibes, except nobody's laughing while it's happening.
He said he invests max 3% of net worth now, so diversification became emotional Kevlar.
Kevlar in the form of diversification is such a great metaphor.
And that ties back to the boring part. Compound returns and spreading risk patiently.
The other huge theme was talking about money, like it's taboo in the middle class.
The don't discuss salary thing is basically asymmetry of information in office clothing.
He compared it to porn, like vulgar to even mention. Do we really do that?
We do, and then we act shocked when people make terrible financial decisions.
Also, his advice to talk to your friends about mortgage rates is so practical it sounds illegal.
It should be on a billboard. Discuss numbers, avoid ignorance.
I'm also thinking about his kitchen cabinet idea, like 3 people you can be honest with.
That's underrated, but he made it sound easy, like just find the right people.
It's not easy. People either overshare or they become judgmental the second money appears.
True, but his point about not asking someone to be your mentor is interesting.
The mentor request is intimidating argument, like asking, do you want sex, as the analogy.
That metaphor is unhinged, but it lands. It's about easing into a conversation.
So instead of be my mentor, it's can I ask for advice on this one thing?
And he says brevity matters, like he won't read the novel email.
Translation. Don't write long emails like you're auditioning for your own life story.
Also, he's pro-persistence, like politely follow up because his inbox is chaos.
That's a good pushback to people who interpret no response as no.
But here's where I want to challenge him. His focus advice sounds like no side hustles ever.
Yeah, but side hustles can also be learning labs, not necessarily failures.
Or they're just hobbies disguised as productivity theater.
The difference is whether the side hustle becomes a lifeboat or a distraction boat.
I think the real focus rule is don't split your identity while you're still building leverage.
And his get credentialed plus move to super cities part. Yes, it's capitalist, but it's also geometry.
He said 2/3 of growth over 30 years is in 20 cities. Do you buy that number?
I buy the spirit. Opportunities cluster. But if people take it as destiny, they'll suffer.
That's fair. Still, being in a city is like playing against Serena Williams daily. Improves you fast.
Surrounded by people who bump off opportunity every day is such a city bonus.
And then the whole AI question. Should you decide geography based on AI? He basically said, waves move wealth fast.
NVIDIA and the GPU brain thing, those microchips create whole fortunes instantly.
He says, in 6 months within San Francisco radius, wealth created more than Germany in a decade.
I don't know if it's exactly that, but the point is, capital concentrates where tech concentrates.
So for listeners, his steps are focus, diversify later, talk about money, ask for advice, endure rejection.
And don't ignore spending discipline, because discipline is the boring skeleton key.
I like that he keeps turning it back to plan your life, not manifest your life.
Also, he said his first number was 1 million after college, then 10 million, then 100 million.
That's such a greedy evolution story until he framed it as enjoy and give away once you hit.
Yeah, the goal is not hoarding, it's getting to I can breathe.
All right, I'm fired up. Next episode, we should talk about his steps to wealth really practically.
Let's do it, because I'm pretty sure we can argue with at least one of his claims next time.
Welcome to our brand. Respectful disagreement with high intensity.
Good conversation, man. See you in a bit.
Episode 2 teaser. We'll go even harder on the algebra of wealth rules and how to use them without delusion.
That economic security framing is wild, like it flips everything on purpose.
Right, because he's not selling wealth as lifestyle flex, more like anxiety insurance.
Exactly, he's basically saying hard work isn't magic. Boring discipline is.
But I hate that vibe sometimes, like don't undercut effort too hard.
He didn't undercut effort. He undercut the mythology that effort builds wealth alone.
The boss tells you not to discuss salaries is such a sneaky incentive problem.
And the asymmetry of information thing, people treat money talk like it's porn.
Yeah, like bro, ignorance is the real disease.
That's why his start talking money early point actually hits.
Did you notice how he ties financial literacy to mentorship and risk-taking too?
Because he's like, you can't master what you refuse to look at.
Okay, but then he goes full uncomfortable risks, unlock everything.
Dude called rejection a business model, essentially.
Endure rejection should be printed on gym shirts and dating apps.
He made salespeople sound like the most overcompensated anxiety absorbers alive.
The salespeople line was funny, but also annoying accurate.
He's saying most people can't stomach public failure, so they never try.
And then they blame fate or the game is rigged instead of trying smarter.
I love the sliding doors energy, like tiny moments that cascade into a life.
But is he romanticizing risk a little? Some risks are just stupid.
Yes, that part needs guardrails, otherwise uncomfortable becomes reckless.
He sort of did that though, like ring fence. Don't go slow failure mode.
Slow failure is the worst is such a practical mindset.
That red envelope story was brutal, like you go all in, then the market hits you sideways.
And borrowing against your own stock? That's next-level leverage-induced optimism.
It's always leverage that turns learning opportunity into survival mode.
He made diversification sound boring on purpose because boring saves you.
But people hate diversification because it feels like not believing in yourself.
Meanwhile, belief in yourself doesn't hedge credit crises.
Also, the most unbelievable way is hard work doesn't build wealth line. Controversial, but spicy.
It's a rhetorical hammer, but the core is invest, own, and let compounding do the heavy lifting.
And he keeps coming back to compounding like it's gravity.
He literally used that bucket of sand vibe, like show, don't tell.
I'm picturing the sand bucket like a science fair that economically ruins people's excuses.
The "I'll start when I have a million" argument. Classic procrastination dressed as sophistication.
That's not strategy, that's ego protecting itself from being wrong.
So what do you think about his age-based advice? Risk young, ring fence later.
I get it, but you can dance between raindrops is true only if you're already supported.
Yeah, his privilege talk matters. He's basically saying luck and access are real variables.
That part where he lists born in California in the 60s, white heterosexual male, respectfully, that's a cheat code.
And he admits he didn't even realize it at the time. Honest and rare.
The environmental point too. Ghost following him, you're not worthy, that shapes everything.
When you feel unworthy, economic security becomes almost spiritual.
Exactly. And that's why his money isn't the end line, lands.
His definition of wealth as passive income greater than burn, clean and ruthless.
The 4% return assumption, though, people will take it as gospel.
He's rounding to give people a number, not drafting legal documents.
Still, I'm with him on the have a number concept.
Because without a number, you just chase status forever.
And once you hit the number, then you enjoy and give away. That's the healthy flex.
He's basically saying, don't die of accumulation, go live.
I also liked his kitchen cabinet idea, 3 to 4 trusted people you can be transparent with.
And the warning, don't treat mentorship like a contractual obligation.
He compared it to asking someone for sex, easing in matters.
That metaphor is insane, but the principle is solid. Ask for advice, not a lifelong commitment.
Okay, but how often do people actually do that? Most are too proud or too vague.
Which is why his advice on emails is so practical. Brevity, personal connection, crisp ask.
Don't get discouraged. Write the ask again if needed is also underrated.
Persistence without being weird, like a polite machine.
Now I want to challenge his focus. Go all in, avoid side hustles.
Yeah, because side hustles can be how you discover what you're good at.
But he'd probably say, if you truly found focus, side projects stop anyway.
His pushback to the meritocracy rage part was important too.
He didn't insult fast food workers. He gave them a ladder inside the ladder.
You need a taste for flesh was hilarious and also weirdly motivational.
The dignity in work angle makes the whole thing less toxic.
Like, work there with the plan, grow, learn, get sponsorship, then reposition.
And then it becomes geographic and credentialing, super cities, credentialed routes.
He made it sound almost like physics, growth clusters where opportunity clusters.
But do we overfit that? Like, go to super cities can become a lazy slogan.
True, but his point is about playing near the biggest waves, not pretending waves don't exist.
And the AI mention, he didn't let it turn into move because ChatGPT says so.
He was like, wealth creation is still concentrated around compute and talent pipelines.
That NVIDIA employee wealth angle is also a reminder. Equity can change everything quickly.
Which circles back to his become an owner, not an earner idea.
Okay, I think I'm aligned. Uncomfortable risks, diversified capital, and a boring system to fund freedom.
Freedom funded by compound interest, romantic and brutal at the same time.
And the real goal is fewer people living in constant dread about money.
Yeah, money as a means so you can focus on relationships and meaning.
All right, we're going to need episode 2 because I want to argue with the algebra part.
Perfect, let's do it. Next episode, we get even more mechanical about his rules.
Cool, cool. See you in the next one. And don't be scared to ask for help.
Also, write your emails like you respect people's time.
Episode 2 teaser. We'll unpack his exact steps to wealth and where they can break.
The economic security first framing is messing with me, in a good way.
But it's also kind of cold, right? Like, get rich, then be human later.
He's not saying ignore life, he's saying stop living on anxiety.
Okay, but how do you balance boring discipline with taking risks?
His whole thesis is boring works, but only if you endure rejection first.
Endure rejection sounds like dating advice, and investor advice got fused.
Honestly, they're the same skill: asking, getting no, and surviving your ego.
He made it sound like the biggest wealth hack is just not being afraid.
Yeah, but he ties it to math. Diversification prevents the slow failure trap.
I hate that slow failure line because it's too real for entrepreneurs.
The story about being levered into one company going from $7 to Chapter 11.
That's the kind of pain that makes you respect index funds like scripture.
But he also says when you have kids, you can't be as risk-aggressive.
I get the idea, but doesn't that just describe risk appetite changes?
Sure, but he makes it emotional. In your 30s, failure hits differently.
That moment he described, kid born, and he feels like he failed financially, damn.
That's why he keeps returning to money is a means, not a religion.
Also, the talk about money argument, like asymmetry of information, finally.
Finally, because salary secrecy is basically letting the marketplace lie to you.
It's vulgar like porn is such a ridiculous rule to enforce.
And then everyone wonders why one of their 5 friends ends up rich.
Wait, the average of 5 closest friends part, does he mean behavior or just networks?
Behavior, mostly. Habits, transparency, decision-making under pressure.
I'm not sure transparency alone makes you win, though.
It's not a magic spell, but it removes the fog when you're deciding.
Fog is expensive. People underestimate how much they bleed from ignorance.
Like buying a TV as big as the wall and calling it self-care.
He basically admitted payday tragedy purchasing for psychological relief.
And that's the other boring villain. Spending everything you touch.
The 98% of us spend everything stat hurt my personal brand.
Your brand is I'm fine. The bank account is you are lying.
Okay, but compounding interest isn't sexy, so how do you convince people?
He literally used the bucket of sand thing, like visual proof beats speeches.
That's actually smart. People need a physical model of time.
Time is the advantage in your 20s. Flexibility is the lever, not hype.
I want to push back. Side hustles, are they always evil?
He said, try not to have side hustles, which is too absolute for me.
Like sometimes the side hustle is the only way you discover your real skill.
True, but his point is, if you have side hustle noise, maybe main hustle is weak.
Main hustle, I'm passionate. Side hustle, I'm terrified.
Exactly. Panic disguised as entrepreneurship.
I did like his workshop your life idea, though. Workshop roles, cities, trajectories.
And geographic flexibility. Get to super cities while you can.
But not everyone can just move. That advice feels expensive.
He basically said, if you want economic security, waves are where capital flows.
Do you buy his 20 super cities framing? Or is that just motivational math?
It's not magic, it's probability. Cities stack opportunities like chips.
The NVIDIA GPU example was wild, wealth created like a production line.
And the point wasn't buy NVIDIA, it was stock options turn time into outcomes.
That's the whole army of capital thing. Capital doing work while you sleep.
Right, but you still need to invest first, and he keeps complaining people won't delay gratification.
Delay gratification is the hardest advice because it's invisible benefit.
You can't screenshot future you, only current you.
That's why he wanted discipline in spending, not just hustle.
But what about his don't chase passion, chase talent line?
That rubbed me the wrong way. Passion can be the fuel.
He's not banning passion, he's saying passion is often the afterproduct of mastery.
Mastery becomes passion, like the soapstone installer who makes £1.3 million.
Yeah, passion via geology, not Instagram via fantasies.
And then his uncomfortable risk theme comes back. Dating, entrepreneurship, asking strangers.
I love that he treats rejection as a tax you pay to buy opportunity.
But there's a difference between rejection and disrespect, right?
Absolutely, and he kind of implies, ask crisply, respect time, keep it human.
Write emails like you respect people's time is basically flirting etiquette.
Yep, brevity plus sincerity. No one rejects competence politely.
And his kitchen cabinet idea, 3 people you can be transparent with, that's underrated.
Because you need outside eyes to avoid reading labels from inside the bottle.
I do wonder, though, can people actually be honest without judging themselves?
He's basically saying shame kills decisions, but transparency buys clarity.
Shame is an information gap, too. You stop learning because it hurts.
That's why he pushes adult conversation with yourself about spending and numbers.
The set your number, then enjoy it part. Do you think goal numbers help or trap people?
Both. Humans need guardrails, but guardrails can become cages.
His definition of wealth, passive income outliving burn, is clean, though.
Finally, someone defines wealth without a yacht interview.
Still, I worry people set numbers and then keep moving them.
Greed keeps climbing. He even said his number went from 1 million to 10 to 100.
But he also said, once you hit your number, start giving it away.
That's the ethical loop. Security enables generosity, not just comfort.
And he frames happiness as low anxiety, relationships, travel, family.
The means to ends part lands hardest when he talks about taking care of his dad.
The post-tax cost for care is insane, but it's framed as stability, not burden.
Exactly. Economic security becomes freedom to love without fear.
Okay, I'm sold on the motive. Now I'm still arguing the mechanism for episode 2.
Perfect. Next time we get mechanical about the rules and where they break.
Cool, let's roll. And don't be scared to ask for help.
And write emails like you respect people's time.
Episode 2 teaser. We'll unpack his exact steps to wealth and the loopholes.
The means to ends thing finally clicked for me when he mentioned his dad.
The post-tax cost he threw out sounded unreal, like still real-life numbers, though.
Yeah, it's not money buys happiness, it's money removes anxiety taxes.
Anxiety taxes is a wild phrase, but it's accurate, isn't it?
Dude literally framed it like stress shows up in blood pressure.
But I do worry people hear this and go, cool, buy stuff to cope.
No, he's basically saying, buy stability, then spend on meaning.
And meaning for him is travel and family, not yachts and Lambo's cringe.
It also reframes investing as protecting your time with people you love.
Okay, but he's also pushing uncomfortable risks, which is the part I can't fully buy.
He talks like rejection is basically free candy for the brave.
Rejection is not free if you have debt, a job that's unstable, and a mortgage.
True, but he did say once you have kids, risk appetite has to change.
Right. He basically said ring-fence it, and don't do slow failures.
Fast failure is the healthiest villain origin story ever.
What I'm still wrestling with, the psychology of being able to take rejection.
He said something like, your shame targets will be dead, and so will you.
That's either the most nihilistic motivational speech or the most practical one.
I mean, even if you don't go full atheism, the time horizon compresses everything.
But how do you teach that to someone who's not privileged enough to recover quickly?
Exactly. Just endure rejection sounds good until the landlord doesn't accept your philosophy.
So for me, the mechanism is, you need a runway first, then you can take swings.
That's why he keeps hammering discipline on spending and compound interest.
Because 98% of people spend everything, so they never build that runway.
98% will spend everything they touch is such a savage stat.
And he contrasted starting small with waiting for some huge milestone.
The I'll invest when I have a million crowd is basically donating to impatience.
The bucket of sand compounding metaphor was annoyingly effective, I'll admit.
Because compounding is boring, but the result is not boring at all.
Okay, now the part I agree with most. Diversify like crazy once you have capital.
Diversification as emotional Kevlar, yes, that line was elite.
But I also want to push back. Diversification can become, I don't want to learn.
That's when you buy index funds because you're scared, not because you're strategic.
He would probably say the intention doesn't matter, but the behavior does.
He also said, focus first, then broaden later, which actually sounds like a real-life model.
Like, in your 20s, you need concentrated skill building to compete, right?
Exactly. Focus on your top 1% shot in an industry with high employment probability.
Though I worry people hear top 1% and get defeated before they even start.
He literally used a musician-actor example to make it less romantic and more measurable.
Yeah, his guardrails for top 1% fast were basically rent payment physics.
And unemployment rates in creative fields aren't vibes, they're spreadsheets.
Can't pay your rent in 2 years is the only moral argument capitalism accepts.
Not moral, just brutal arithmetic. Guardrails save dreams from turning into martyrdom.
And that's where mastery before passion comes in, which is actually comforting.
It's comforting because it means passion is not a lightning bolt, it's a byproduct.
Still, some people hate the work backwards from income framing.
Because it feels like killing imagination, but he's just saying, hobbies aren't always passions.
And you need options, because the world punishes people who bet everything with no fallback.
He told that story about going all in on one company and borrowing against stock. Ouch.
That negative 2 million moment would personally erase my confidence.
But he used it to justify the rule. Never invest more than like 3% in one thing.
The deeper question is, how much of wealth is risk management versus risk-taking?
He's saying both, but with timing. Risk hard when you're young, then de-risk when stakes grow.
So basically, swing early, hedge later, don't live in slow failure.
Slow failure is such a quiet killer because it looks like progress.
But entrepreneurship isn't a lab experiment. You can't always control failure speed.
True, but ring-fencing capital forces the timeline to be survivable.
And it matches the kitchen cabinet idea. Don't make big calls alone.
I liked his point about not asking for mentorship like it's a contract.
Yes, he said, ease into it, like asking for coffee, not, will you be my mentor?
Because commitment scares people, and advice needs trust more than titles.
Also, he's brutally practical about how people respond. Brevity, personal connection, clear ask.
That line about hitting someone again because their inbox swallowed it was real.
And he made the emotional pitch. You should be persistent, because you only need one yes.
It's like networking, but framed as respecting time and managing your own rejection tolerance.
I want to steal one thing. Ask for advice, not a lifelong relationship.
Same, and I think it is the bridge between uncomfortable risk and boring discipline.
Because discipline gives you runway, and risk gives you growth. Without runway, risk becomes chaos.
Chaos is when you don't know whether you'll recover, and money answers that question faster.
All right, I'm officially on board with his framework for the early to midlife arc.
Cool, because episode 2 better bring the mechanics, not just vibes.
Next time, we'll go step by step through his exact wealth algorithm and what breaks it.
For now, let's remind people, build the runway, diversify, then swing.
And if you need help, ask for advice like a human, not like a robot contract.
Dude, that whole unhappy generation vibe is real, but it's fixable.
Fixable, sure, but does work doesn't build wealth sound like defeatism?
It sounds like work builds character, not balance sheets, which is different.
Yeah, because wealth is about systems, ownership, saving, diversification.
And he keeps coming back to the boring stuff, spending discipline and compounding.
The boring part is investing monthly, while your friends spend quarterly.
Exactly, like you pay tuition to your future self in small chunks.
I loved the bucket of sand idea, visualizing compounding like it's physical.
The mental model matters because most people can't feel compounding psychologically.
Also, the line about 98% of us spending everything we touch? Brutal.
That stat is basically a mirror held too close to your face.
But how does that translate into uncomfortable risks without contradiction?
Easy. Risk is for growth, discipline is for survival, so you can keep taking swings.
So runway first, then reckless later. Like he said, risk without runway becomes chaos.
Chaos is when you can't recover from a bad quarter, just from a bad haircut.
Fair. And the fast failure beats slow failure point hit hard.
Slow failure is the trap. You keep investing time because the signals stay mildly green.
But isn't that also the normal way businesses work? Learning takes time.
Totally, but he's talking about vaguely profitable vibes that prevent exits.
Like when you rationalize, it'll turn around soon, but it never does.
Exactly, and with kids or mortgages, you can't afford that kind of ambiguity.
This is where his diversify like crazy once you have something hits.
He basically said, stop worshipping the single bet narrative.
Still, people love concentration because it feels heroic and simple.
But concentration is just confidence porn, unless you diversify after the capital shows up.
Confidence porn should be a TED Talk title, honestly.
The deeper thing, markets trump performance over time, so don't pretend you're smarter than the system.
And he gave that worked all in, then Chapter 11 in Week's story, painfully relatable.
Borrowing against stock to buy more stock, that's like playing Jenga while blindfolded.
Yet young founders do it constantly because they think the downside is theoretical.
That's why the framework is age-based. Flexibility and time early, runway and alignment later.
He even turned "what if you're not young" into spending control and planning.
Mature version of the plan. You're not late, you're just starting with less optionality.
And then he's like, have the adult conversation with yourself. No doom spirals.
My favorite part was the uncomfortable risk with rejection endurance.
Like student president losses as training for asking strangers for mentorship.
It's basically lose publicly, build immunity, then scale it into your career.
But do you buy his atheism angle as the reason people aren't afraid of shaming?
I'm not sure faith or atheism is causal there, but the everyone you fear is mortal trick works.
Yeah, the mechanism is mortality salience. Your brain stops overvaluing embarrassment.
And once you devalue shaming, asking becomes normal behavior.
That's why the ask for advice, not mentorship distinction, matters so much.
Be my mentor sounds like an arranged marriage proposal.
Whereas, can I ask you one specific question over coffee feels safe and bounded.
Also, it's respectful of the other person's time, brevity, and specificity.
Do you think people mess up mostly because their ask is vague?
And because they lead with ego, I want your blessing instead of here's the problem.
The "I'm writing because I'd love advice" line was so crisp.
It also implies rejection is just data, not identity assassination.
Which ties back to discipline. If you can't handle no's, you won't build anything.
And you'll keep waiting for the perfect time that never arrives.
I was also intrigued by the supercity and credentialing arguments.
Credentialing can be gatekeeping, though. Some people get trapped by the system.
True, but if the labor market prices credentials, not having them is like walking into a knife fight unarmed.
That's harsh but accurate. LinkedIn economy loves labels.
His dignity in work push also felt important, especially for fast food situations.
Because people hear work isn't enough and wrongly conclude work is beneath me.
He reframed it. Treat any job as a means to learn, grow, save, and upgrade.
Like checking growth, skills, and sponsorship. Is this place moving?
Is it growing? Is the simplest due diligence question ever.
And he mentions that office is where relationships start. 1 in 3, which means your network builds while you work.
That's actually wild. You don't need to manifest. You need to assemble a cabinet of people.
Kitchen cabinet economics. Small group, honest feedback, zero mystery finance.
So the buddies with truth function replaces vague self-delusion.
Exactly, because it's hard to read the label from inside the bottle.
Now the wealth number thing, 100 million, was bold, but the logic wasn't crazy.
The number flex is entertaining, but do most people actually need a 7-figure target?
Maybe not, but having a retirement runway math is the point. Replace vibes with planning.
The definition of wealth equals passive income, burn, is basically a cheat code.
And then the best part, after you hit your number, enjoy and give it away.
Because money isn't the end, it's the means to reduce anxiety and buy time back.
Anxiety taxes everything: health, parenting, relationships, decision quality.
He made even blood pressure sound like a wealth metric.
Okay, that's my final takeaway. Take uncomfortable risks, but build boring systems so you survive long enough.
Yes, and ask for help like a human, not like a robot requesting mentorship royalties.
All right, we're going to turn this into actual mechanics in episode 2.
And we'll map the exact wealth algorithm he teases. No more vibes only.
See you in the next one, and go take one uncomfortable risk this week.
Episode 2 coming up. The step-by-step process and what focus really looks like.